Well, today is 29th day into Workbook of A Course in Miracles, and today we are told that the idea is wholly alien to its wholly alien nature. The idea for today will begin to show you your wholly alien nature as well. And remember, any order that you impose is equally alien to reality. So if there are aliens, you're one of them. God is in everything I see. And I think we really have to remember that this is just the beginning here today. Today we're going to begin. So don't worry about, and certainly don't use what does or doesn't occur as an indication or judgment on yourself, as an indication of whether you're doing this successfully or not. This idea is going to take a little bit of practice because you've forgotten your wholly alien nature. And this is going to begin to restore the recognition that you are an alien here. So today we're going to try to begin to learn, not look. Today we're going to begin to learn to look on all things with love, appreciation, and open-mindedness. You do not see them now. Would you know what is in them? Nothing is as it appears to you. Its holy purpose stands beyond your little range. The little range that we think we can see within the visual acuity of the mind with which we think. The ability to see your wholly alien nature in today's wholly alien idea will begin to dawn on you as we sink below and beyond, above and beyond that tiny range that human eyes seem to think they see it. So God is in everything I see. Today's idea, the idea for today explains why you can see all purpose in everything. It explains why nothing is separate by itself or in itself. It explains why nothing you see means anything. In fact, it explains every idea we have used thus far, and all the subsequent ones. God is in everything I see. Today's idea is the whole basis for vision. He goes on in the next paragraph. You'll probably find this idea very difficult to grasp at this point. I don't know if you will ever grasp it, because I don't think there's anything to hold on to. You may find it a silly idea, an irreverent idea based on everything you've thought and been taught before, a senseless idea, funny, and even objectionable. Certainly, if you look around you randomly, rather than impose any of your own order on it. Certainly, when you look around and see some of the things in your world that you're asked to apply this idea to today randomly, you may feel the objection. God can't possibly be in that. Don't worry, just say, apply the idea. Certainly God is not in the table, for example, as you see it. Certainly God is not in the person who is attempting to cut you off on the highway and cheat you of your change in the marketplace. Certainly God isn't in the terrorist attacks that are going on in the world. Yet, we emphasized yesterday that a table shares the purpose of the universe. And what shares the purpose of the universe shares the purpose of its creator. So God is in everything I see. Now remember, this is just the beginning. How far you succeed, well, is dependent on the nature of your willingness to accept this idea in its totality. And what this is saying is that's going to be very difficult at first. However, as you go along in the day, utilizing the idea that's been given to us, one of the things that you're told is, as you repeat it, as you look about you during the practice periods, and as you utilize the idea randomly in the course of your day, and you utilize it unhurriedly, at least one or two times, you're going to experience a sense of restfulness. Now, I want to assure you, it doesn't matter what you're looking at when you do experience even the beginning of the experience of restfulness. Because if you can experience it in viewing any one thing, you will certainly eventually be able to view it, experience it in viewing anything, because the judgments you have laid upon individual aspects of your vision are entirely false. And if we have a memory, if we would begin to remember rather than forget what we've been learning up to this point, ideas aren't good or bad, so you may achieve a sense of restfulness in viewing something you deem good, whereas you wouldn't achieve that sense of restfulness in something that you've deemed bad. However, remember, when we look at them as all equally meaningless, therefore equally the same, you can begin to understand why, as we withdraw the dualistic nature of our mind, the duality that the split in our mind causes us to see through, as that begins to recede in our memory, and these lessons begin to proceed, go in front of us because they're in the front of our mind, you'll begin to recognize that the value system that we've stratified and made divided the world into a hierarchy, has no real meaning except within the nature of the ego's self-preservation and its need to hide the truth of this lesson from you. So again, if you can begin to feel a sense of restfulness when you look at something, God is in everything I see. God is in the fireplace I'm viewing. God is in the computer as I look at it. God is in my neighbor as they pass the house on their walk today. And then we're asked to apply it in the day God is in the car accident I just viewed. So you can see randomly, each and everything we see is, in a sense, viewed through the ego as equally separate, with an implied value based on how we think. And one of the interesting factors in all of this is because we project our thinking, our thought system on everything, it doesn't necessarily mean that to another brother, his thought system and his projection gives equal value or the same value. So one man's poison is another man's dope. But I assure you, God is in the poison as much as he is in the dope, and the undoing of the hierarchy of the nature, the ego, wants us to have import for some things and lack of import, therefore disrespect, and form objections to the idea in our mind today. As that recedes, as we begin to let this idea for today take precedent, you'll begin to see that the order that we've imposed is totally meaningless. And in fact, when you begin to see and therefore understand where the true purpose of everything comes from, where the meaning, which is not separate from purpose, remember those other lessons, where meaning is not separate from purpose, when we begin to see that, you begin to look on everything wholly without the need to divide it up into individual ideas. It's not that you won't see the fireplace as different in formation from the wall, but you won't see separation of purpose and meaning, because you'll begin to look on everything, as it says, with the the eyes of appreciation, love, and open-mindedness. And don't worry too much if when you're looking at something, you feel a revulsion rather than a love or an appreciation or open-mindedness. That just means that there are ideas in your mind that you need to forgive yourself for putting a meaningless assumption or judgment on top of something that's inherently neutral, that's not different than everything else. You'll see what the work that needs to be done within yourself, which is a good thing. Remember, this is the undoing. We're still in the early stages of the undoing of the way we think. As we begin to open our minds through appreciation and love, as we begin to open our mind to a new way of seeing with the mind of God, which we're all using. There's one mind, and I assure you, we're all a part of that single whole mind of love and joy and life eternal. And as we begin to even allow that to rise up, the rising up of that understanding is going to cause great consternation to the ego that you've been identifying with, that has sought your attention in its need to judge and make things different, so as to achieve the experience of separation that you're having in this world of space and time, and let's call it individuation, where nothing really shares the same purpose, and you experience the meaninglessness and lack of consistency and the lack of constancy in the world that you're viewing. That lack of consistency and that lack of constancy is merely being viewed by you because of the lack of constancy in your ability to utilize a single whole perfect idea. The willingness to accept that you're unable to do that you're unable to see the constancy, is the admission of the responsibility for your sight, which is necessary in order for you to allow the change of mind that's beginning to occur in each and every one of you. Believe me, you wouldn't have gotten to day number 25 unless you were glimpsing some value, day number 29, unless you were glimpsing some value in what it is we were doing. And in spite of the objections that you may make, that you may experience, when you woke up this morning and decided to do the lesson, it's been a new day. And the ability to do that lesson, the desire to do the lesson, to learn that God is in everything I see, is an indication of your determination, in spite of the fact that perhaps you've wanted to give up. Each day is a new day. The past is gone. You need it not. And your assignment for today is simply to utilize this idea in the 6 2-minute practice periods that we've begun to become accustomed to, and then randomly throughout the day look upon everything. God is in everything I see. God is equally in what we deem as good as what we deem as bad, because good and bad are meaningless in relationship to a single whole totality from which all meaning flows and from which you cannot not be a single whole part of. So remember, you've been living in a field of dreams, and you've been the dreamer of those dreams. So today, the holy alien, your holy alien nature will begin to dawn on you as you look at what was previously viewed as separate and cause for a lot of what you think is occurring. I mean, many of us think that the world outside of us causes the experience that we have, rather than recognizing it's in the way I've been looking at things. The way I see things gives me the experience that I'm having. And as we begin to really see and feel the responsibility that we have for our own experience, as we begin to utilize these ideas to change our mind in a responsibility to our own holy alien nature, as created perfect and whole, eternal and infinite as God has created us, as we begin to imply that upon the world and everything we see, we'll begin to understand our true nature and our alien nature that has been unfamiliar to us, yet waiting for us to discover. So today may be a day of discovery for many of us as we go about our day and apply the idea God is in everything I see. Because we'll find out in the next few days why that's so. But remember, today's idea is the basis for the entire course. It's the basis for everything that's past, all the lessons we've learned in the past, and it's the basis for the new vision that we're acquiring. So it's the basis of all the lessons that we will do as time goes by in our dedication, this 1-year dedication that we've made to doing the workbook of A Course in Miracles. So you go forth and look for God. God is in everything I see. Include yourself in that. If you're looking in the mirror, if you look into a mirror today, randomly apply that idea to yourself as you look in the mirror today.